Hello and welcome, cellists. Today is the 25th lesson of our micro series in Lockdown 3. It's the 25th of February 2021 and yes, you got it, we're doing study number 25 in Feuillard Setter 60. Today's study is C major, which seems to be quite a favourite key in many of these studies. It's an andantino in compound time, so we have the lilting nature of 6/8 going on here, and it says it's a study for the left hand. So the left hand aspect of this study is about not just arpeggios but the kind of shifts that are going on, but it does mean you do need to think about what you do with your bow to help you with those shifts. And generally speaking, it's about actually using a fairly fast bow stroke, mostly on the first of a group of 3, or the beginning of that pulse. I'll show you what I mean. So at the beginning, that second bar, if I pull fast, it means that you have a slower bow speed for the point of shift so that you won't hear it as much. We don't want to hear glissando. I'll show you what I mean if I didn't change the speed, if I kept it constant. You will hear that, but you won't. So there's a little bit of thinking to go on here. If you hear a funny sounding slide, it's probably, well, 2 possibilities about the left hand moving quickly enough, of course. But by wanting to slow the bow down at the point of the shift, one of the best ways to achieve that is you speed it up a bit earlier than that, and then you'll have to slow down. So that's a consideration you may not have thought of in looking at this study. Other things in there, there's all kinds of types of shifts. We've got inarticulate ones, and we have, what else have we got? I think there was a substitution shift somewhere in there. Yeah, substitution shift going on, and we have actually quite unusually at the very end we have an inward telescope movement. So we have and then the note I want is where my second finger is, and I'm telescoping in. Ta-da! Quite nice. Now in terms of harmony, fairly plain sailing, and we get to the dominance by bar 16, something you might expect. But what you don't expect is what happens next, and I think it's delightful. It moves then from a G major chord to E flat major, A flat, E major, A minor, F sharp major, B major, an augmented chord, absolutely delightful, and then to a G major chord, getting back to the home tonic of C. May be gobbledygook to you. But don't worry, because it's all there in the writing and you can just enjoy the sound of it. If I momentarily sort of like just think about and talk momentarily about how we moved from that G major dominant to the E flat, it's a lovely mechanism used by many composers over the centuries. I think Schubert was a particular favourite of his, to pivot on one note and change the other 2 chromatically to change the chord very suddenly. So here's G major triad, and if I change, I keep the G, I bring in the first note a semitone and rise the second, I've got an E flat chord, and that's the sound shape that you're hearing here. Not those particular patterns, but that's the sound shape. Don't worry too much if this doesn't register with you and you're not so familiar with harmony. What we can say is it's a little surprise and it's rather charming. So let's have a little look at the whole piece then. Don't think there's anything else much to say. Okay. There's some marvellous moments in there. I'm going to remind you of one I didn't mention, but how lovely is that? Ooh, a major 7th resolution. I think you'll like this one. Go on, give it a go.